Every story you have ever loved traces back to one source. Every hero's journey, every war narrative, every man trying to get home. One poet wrote the template 3,000 years ago, and nobody has improved on it since. His name was Homer. He is supposed to have lived around the 8th century BCE, possibly in Ionia, possibly Chios, possibly nowhere specific. 2 epic poems survive under his name, the Iliad and the Odyssey. They are the oldest works of Western literature we have. The Iliad is not about the Trojan War. It covers 51 days near the end of a 10-year siege. It is about one man's rage, Achilles, and what that rage costs everyone around him, including himself. The poem opens mid-crisis. Achilles has withdrawn from battle after being humiliated by the Greek commander Agamemnon. Without him, the Greeks are losing. Men are dying. And Achilles sits in his tent, furious, watching it happen. This is Homer's first and most radical question. What is the cost of pride? Achilles is right. He was wronged. But being right doesn't stop people from dying because of his absence. Being right has a price. Homer doesn't take sides. Agamemnon is proud and foolish. Achilles is brilliant and self-destructive. The Trojans are not villains. Hector, their greatest warrior, is more sympathetic than almost anyone on the Greek side. Hector knows he is going to die. He tells his wife, Andromache. He holds his infant son, who is terrified of his father's helmet. He takes it off. He laughs. He prays the boy will be greater than him. Then he goes back to fight. This is what Homer understood about war, that most war stories don't. It is not glorious in any simple way. It is glorious and it is shattering, both at once. He refuses to let you feel only one thing. Achilles finally returns to battle not out of duty, not for glory, but because his closest friend Patroclus has been killed. He enters the war consumed by grief, not principle, and the grief makes him terrifying. He kills Hector. Then he desecrates his body, dragging it behind his chariot around the walls of Troy while Hector's parents watch from above. It is one of the most disturbing scenes in ancient literature. Homer shows it without flinching. Then Hector's father, Priam, an old king, an enemy, crosses the battlefield alone at night to beg Achilles for his son's body back. He kneels before the man who killed his child, and Achilles weeps with him. That scene, 2 enemies weeping together, is the moral center of the Iliad. Homer is saying, even here, even in this, there is something that connects us. Grief is not a weakness. It is what makes us human. The war is over. Achilles is dead. Troy is ash. And the man who came up with the plan that won it all, the wooden horse, the deception, the mastermind, cannot get home. 10 years of war. And now 10 more years of something worse. Where the Iliad asks what glory costs, the Odyssey asks something quieter. What does it mean to go home? Not just physically, to return to the person you were before everything changed. Is that even possible? Odysseus is not the strongest hero. He is the smartest, the wiliest. He survives not through force, but through cunning, deception, and adaptability. He is the first modern protagonist, someone who thinks his way through the world. He spends a year with the sorceress Circe. He descends into the underworld and speaks to the dead. He is offered immortality by the nymph Calypso, actual immortality, eternal paradise. And he refuses. He wants to go home. That refusal is one of Homer's deepest ideas. Odysseus chooses a finite life, struggle, aging, death, over infinite comfort. He chooses to be human. He chooses Penelope, his son, his rocky island, his flawed and limited life. When he finally returns to Ithaca, no one recognizes him. He disguises himself as a beggar. His own son doesn't know him. His dog, old and dying, recognizes him and dies. That scene has broken readers for 3,000 years. Homer understood something about identity that modern psychology is still mapping, that long enough away from the people and places that define you, you stop knowing who you are. Return is not just physical, it is reconstruction. Both poems end not with triumph, but with fragile restoration. Achilles' grief is honored. Odysseus reclaims his home. But Homer gives you no sense that the suffering was worth it. There is no moral reward system. This is what makes Homer different from mythology, from legend, from most ancient storytelling. He is not moralistic. He does not tell you what to think. He shows you what happens and trusts you to feel the weight of it. The poems were not written, they were sung. Homer, or whoever composed them, performed for audiences, improvising within a tradition, using repeated phrases as building blocks. What we have is a later transcription of a living performance. The repeated epithets, rosy-fingered dawn, wine-dark sea, swift-footed Achilles, are not laziness. They are the rhythm that carries the poem, the familiar beats that let the singer think ahead while the audience settles into the world. What Homer gave the world was not just two stories. He gave a way of thinking about what a story is for. Not to explain the world, not to enforce rules, to illuminate the experience of being alive, in all its contradiction and cost. Plato wanted Homer banned from his ideal republic. Think about that for a moment. The greatest philosopher in history, afraid of a poet, not a general, not a king, a blind man with a lyre. That tells you everything about what Homer's poems actually do to people. Aristotle disagreed. He said poetry, Homer's poetry, teaches us more about human nature than history does. History tells us what happened. Poetry tells us what tends to happen, what is universal, not just particular. Rembrandt's Aristotle with a bust of Homer is worth pausing on. Aristotle's hand rests on Homer's head. His face is not triumphant. He looks conflicted, even melancholy, as if philosophy cannot fully explain what poetry can do. Homer's influence did not diminish. Every epic that followed, Virgil, Dante, Milton, defines itself in relation to Homer. Every war narrative, every story of a long journey home, every story about the gap between who we are and who we want to be. Stop for a second, because this is where it gets personal. You have felt the Iliad. Every time you held your ground on something and watched people around you pay the price for it. That was Achilles. Every time you have felt far from who you used to be. That is the Odyssey. Homer didn't invent those feelings. He just named them first. The Iliad is about what happens when we let pride override everything else, when being right becomes more important than what the rightness actually costs. Achilles is not wrong. He is catastrophically right, and people die for it. The Odyssey is about persistence, not heroic, cinematic persistence, the grinding kind, the kind that requires you to keep moving through years of delay, failure, temptation, and forgetting what you were even heading toward. And Penelope. She is not a passive figure waiting. She is running a household, managing hostile suitors, raising a son, holding the memory of a marriage together across 20 years of silence. She is doing the Odyssey from the inside. Homer's world is one where the gods intervene constantly, and yet the humans are still responsible for what they do. Fate exists, and choice exists within it. That tension between what is given and what we decide is never resolved. Homer thinks it can't be. 3,000 years later, we still use Homeric words without knowing it. Odyssey, mentor, siren, calypso. We still recognize the archetypes, the rage of Achilles, the cunning of Odysseus, the faithfulness of Penelope. They are built into how we think. If you have ever felt the pull between ambition and the people it costs, that is the Iliad. If you have ever felt far from who you were and unsure you can get back, that is the Odyssey. Homer didn't invent those feelings. He just named them first. Read Homer if you can. Even in translation, and there are extraordinary ones, the poems do something that summary cannot. They slow you down. They make you sit with difficulty. They refuse to let you look away from what love and violence and time actually feel like. Next episode, we follow Homer's greatest heir. Virgil took everything Homer built, the epic form, the war, the long journey home, and turned it into something darker, more political, more ambivalent about the glory it describes. The Aeneid knows what the Iliad costs. Homer, a name attached to poems that may have had no single author, a face attached to a man who may have been a tradition, not a person. And yet the poems exist. They have lasted. Whatever Homer was, that was enough. If this series on the poets who shaped Dante interests you, subscribe. Virgil is next. And then we descend into the most ambitious poem ever written, and the geography of an afterlife built on justice, desire, and one man's refusal to look away. Philosophy wasn't written for universities. Neither was Homer. These poems were written for people trying to understand what it means to live, to fight, to lose, to find the way back. That is still the only question worth asking.
Thank you for watching. If this video brought you any value, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. For more content like this, hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you next time.